Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. This is again another episode of the 2023 NFL Draft Rookie Report. The goal of this show is to introduce you to next year's 2023 draft rookies. We're going to discuss what we've seen on their 2022 player film through week 8 of the college football season, as well as project their future dynasty values. So we plan on being here weekly. So hit that subscribe button. We got a great show today. We're going to talk about an exciting wide receiver headed to the draft next year. That is North Carolina wide receiver Josh Downs. But first, let me introduce my co-host here, Jason D. Rienzo. He is a recent graduate of the Scouting Academy. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you, buddy. Really anxious to talk some football with you tonight and go over some of our scouting notes.
Yeah, well, when we do these shows, I'm going to try and make this a process, but I put on this YouTube channel already. Take a look at it. I did a week 1 through week 8 scouting film of Josh Downs where I recorded every reception that he had. He did miss 2 or 3 games, I believe, and early in the season due to injury. But nonetheless, every reception Josh Downs has had through week 8 is recorded. It's on a film. And that's what we've looked at tonight in anticipation of recording this show. So we've really looked at the film. We didn't just look at the highlights. We looked at everything. And we're excited to talk about him. So let's get right to it, man. Josh Downs, he is 5'10", 175 pounds on the season. He's had 44 receptions, 526 yards, and 6 TDs. Again, that is through week 8. And we watched all of these games. We're going to go through some stats here, Jason, and I kind of love to get your opinion on them. These are all from PFF. These are 2022 stats. Good way to start the show to kind of see where he stacks up to other wide receivers in the class. His snap location, plays 74% out of the slot. He's 26% out wide. I really kind of see him, as I'm sure we'll talk about here shortly, as a slot receiver at the next level in the NFL. Reception percentage is 86%. A little tongue twisted here tonight. So 86%, man, that's dynamic. A lot of short throws, as you'll see if you go watch that film. Not a lot of vertical stuff, but nonetheless, the kid can catch the ball. Yards per reception is 11.5. What I did with these stats, I filtered them and had included all wide receivers in college football that had 40 catches or more, and he ranked 118th out of all of those college players, only with 40 catches or more at 11.5. And average depth of target was 10.2. That was 110th amongst wide receivers with catches of 40 or more on the college football season through week 8. And yak per reception was 2.6. That was 160th. I have a little parenthesis of ouch in there because that's not really great when we look at a guy who's small, who's supposed to be explosive. Not a lot of yak. He's been banged up a little bit this year, understandably, so maybe he's not 100%, but nonetheless a stat I think is interested. Anything stand out, Jason, to you in those statistics?
Yeah, the 2.6 yards after contact with the 10.2 ADOT and the 11.5 yards per reception, they just kind of don't add up to me. And that kind of just goes into play with the type of routes he was running. Very close to the line, kind of asked him to make his own yards after the catch. More of a helpful tool to the quarterback from what I think his upside could be as a downfield threat. But again, he's playing out of the slot, so that would be more of a seam. But yeah, I don't see anything other than a guy who's just kind of that gadget player from what these stats are telling me.
Yeah, so let's get into his scouting profile, and we're going to kind of break these down by traits and kind of discuss each one. So his release and route running, watching that film, I think he's got really good short area quickness. I think he was able to create space, but I feel like he's a very raw route runner because I felt like when he went vertical, it was always based on a scheme kind of open where he was running through zone coverage. It wasn't where he was going one-on-one, you like to see that one-on-one shake and bake, double moves and, going deep and stuff like that. But I feel like he didn't really face a lot of press either. So he got a lot of releases, which was, he was able to use his athleticism to, shake and bake. But I mean, overall, I thought when he got off the line of scrimmage to make those initial moves, I really felt he manipulated the defender and kind of created space a little bit. What did you see in the film?
Yeah, I thought he was very manipulative. I like the fact that he ate into the cushion of the defender off the line of scrimmage pretty quickly, and was able to attack the leverage of the defender's hip, whether or not he was going inside or outside. He did a very good job of that. The issue that I saw is that I just didn't see the play strength to get around defenders if he was closer to the line with them. Kind of got stuffed a little bit. We can kind of go into detail on that when we get in the route running.
Yeah. His ball skills and hands is the next trait that we kind of watched
Mhm.
and focused off. And I thought he played a little bigger than his size. I was kind of impressed that he came down with the vertical plays that he did have. He found himself in mostly contested catch situations, made some adjustments to some underthrown balls, and I thought kind of his ball skills were pretty good. Seemed to time his jumps properly and went on and got him in his hands. Like I said, his catch percentage was outstanding. I think he did body catch on a little bit of those throws, and I'm interested to hear what your
Mhm.
thought process was, especially at the scouting academy. I mean, there was a lot of times you expect those guys when they go up to extend their hands and go get that ball. I didn't see a ton of that. I kind of felt like he waited for a lot of them to kind of come to him. Did you see the same thing?
I did see the same thing, but I also saw him make some spectacular adjustments to the ball and catch
Hmm.
outside his frame as necessary. So I'm not as concerned about that. Some of those body catches, he really didn't have a choice. Like it just worked out for him. There was no
Yeah,
reason for him to
exactly.
extend out if he didn't have to. So I
Right.
understood that. Would I like to see him catch outside of his frame more? Yes. Do I think that he can't? No, I think he can. He just took what was given to him.
Hmm. So his acceleration and speed, I thought he showed some, explosive bursts to get the
Mhm.
DBs in a disadvantageous positions early. He's got the great stop start ability. Man, he loves a whip route. I don't know. I mean, on that film, I mean, I saw
Yeah,
like they love them in college, those
they
little
do.
whip de doo things. But again, I felt that I think he's got that track speed. I don't recall off the top of my head if he was in track in high school or not, but I don't know if he's going to be that elite speed guy that can take it to the house every time or not. I didn't see it on this film at all. What are your thoughts?
I think if he's manufactured into space and he's act like the play is meant for him, I think he can. But asking him to do it all on his own, just working out of the slot, I just don't see it because he went down on first contact a lot. I mean, and
Mhm.
he would fight through contact, but he wasn't really getting anywhere. So that's my biggest concern is when he's facing safeties and linebackers that are up close to the line of scrimmage, where he's actually going to be fed the rock. I'm definitely concerned by that, but I do like the athleticism. I like the stop and go, like you said, and I believe that if he gets into the second level, he's going to be a threat to take us to the house every time based on that speed.
Yeah, we're going to talk about his physicality here in a minute. His yards after catch, there was no real, his
No.
calling card is going to have to be explosive plays, right? He's got to
Mhm.
be that explosive playmaker. That when he gets the ball in his hands, he makes one or two guys miss, and we don't have to worry about his small frame because he's just going to take it to the house all the time. And again, his leg, I'm not sure what his injury was exactly, but maybe he just isn't there yet. I don't know if he's kind of still dealing with injuries or whatever, but I didn't see anything that made me think that he was going to be any kind of yak monster at the NFL level.
Nope, I didn't see it either. I just don't think he has the physicality to break through it, unless he's free roaming. That's the only way I see him getting a lot of yards after the catch.
Yeah, and our last trait here that we talk about with wide receivers, one that we've known each other for quite some time now, is physicality and play strength. I
Mhm.
think is especially when you're one of these smaller players. I mean, he's coming in at 175 pounds. I think he's shorter than 5'10. He's going to be on the watch like Wandale Robinson was, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't come in at 5'9 by the time he actually gets measured. I mean, we know how all these colleges don't tell the truth on their heights and weights, but he just looks smaller to me than 5'10 just looking at the film, but we'll see. But yeah, I have to say, I'm concerned as well. Did you see that one play where he was coming across the kind of the deeper route and the guy hit him with the arm and he took his legs right out from under him and he
Yes.
hit the ground and didn't seem to have any yards after contact and just couldn't seem to break away from anyone. And I'm just
Yeah, and
that's a concern for me in the NFL because you're playing with the big boys, man. All these guys are you're playing with the best of the best athletes, and it works in college. But again, as a translatable, fantasy player, I think he's going to have a lot of space manufactured, like you said, for him to we're going to talk about his fantasy here, but go ahead. You have some thoughts?
Yeah, just the one thing I said when we talk about route running, the reason is that is because it kind of goes into the physicality part of it. Like I actually think that he could be a beneficial outside receiver because of his speed and be a deep threat, but that's not going to happen. He just doesn't have the play strength to go with it. He's going to get bumped off his routes, which means he's not going to be on time, and that's going to grow a problem with his quarterback. So I'm as much as I like Josh Downs, I do have my concerns at the next level.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that small frame is going to allow him to win consistently in the NFL. So,
Yeah.
Dyami Brown was a great receiver from North Carolina a couple years ago that came out. He had better stats at this point than Downs has had, and he hasn't been able to make his mark. Two different kind of players. I mean,
Yeah,
Dyami
one's
Brown
outside, Dammy
yeah,
Brown's bigger, but Josh Downs is getting more opportunity in the slot. So
that's true. So NFL draft capital. Let's get into the draft capital, the fun stuff. Do you think I look at him as a day 2 pick? I don't see him getting picked in the first round. I mean,
no,
just me personally. Where do you see? Is he a day 2 guy for you? Where is he?
I see him as a late third round type guy. Yeah, day 2.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Interesting. From a rookie draft, again, we understand when we do this show, landing spots matter. I don't care if you believe that or not, but trust me, it does. We don't have that, but where do you think in a rookie draft he lands?
I think he's like early second round. I'm really changed my tune now that I got a chance to watch him a little bit more in depth. First off, I did a little bit of research. The top 25 fantasy receivers this year, only 2 of them are under 185, and that's Tyler Lockett and Marquise Brown, who's injured right now. Josh Downs has been injured this year, and he's already undersized. That's slightly concerning to me. So I think if he lands on a good situation, that could help him, but I see him as like an early to mid second round pick.
Do you think he could have that Sky Moore type rise?
I don't think so, because I think Sky Moore is a better route runner, more manipulative, and has much better play strength.
Much better play strength. I would agree.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. He hasn't done much yet. We'll have to see,
I know.
That's where like landing spots matter. Kansas City, it's like we're all waiting, right?
Yeah. Well, he also came from a program where he probably has to take a minute to develop. So
I would agree.
I'll hold that hope. Yeah.
So projected fantasy value, I got him as a wide receiver 4, maybe.
I'm kind of right there with you. Yeah.
Okay.
I got 3-4 somewhere in there.
So we're going to, as part of this fun show, guys, we're going to put like a current player fantasy comp out there to kind of give some perspective as to what we think this player, Josh Downs, could potentially be. And I have like a Rondale Moore type. I don't remember what Rondale Moore's draft capital was. Rondale Moore was smaller.
Third round, maybe.
He was, I think he's shorter, probably maybe a little thicker, but playing at Purdue, he had all of those explosive plays, and he plays for the Cardinals now, and we're still kind of waiting. Like you said, that's a very interesting stat you put out there, less than 185 pounds, because size matters a little bit.
It does.
We know size matters for the running backs, but for wide receivers, it just might too. I mean, it just, you got to play physical, man. You got to be able to shed contact and get away from people. So,
right.
You have any other player comp? I mean, you like my Rondale
Yeah, actually,
Moore
you already said it. I was thinking Wan'Dale Robinson, just because of the way that he's used and how he's being executed on plays, by North Carolina. I saw the same thing with Wan'Dale Robinson. I think Wan'Dale Robinson has a little bit more play strength from what I saw of his college film than even Josh Downs. So that's not good.
Wan'Dale Robinson was a dog, man, in Kentucky last year. I mean, he had so many nice vertical runs down the seam and took big hits and got right up. I agree. He had a little bit more of a play strength thing, but I think he finally played for the Giants this weekend and had some receptions. So still looking forward to seeing Wan'Dale Robinson in his career. So, well, there you go, guys. That's our thought process on, Josh Downs here and where we see him. Got another half of college football left, so we could maybe see some of the things that we're talking about maybe kind of improve, but we have 2.5 years of film. That's our thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. Again, hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And like I said, we're going to be dropping these all season long as we approach the 2023 NFL draft. Thanks for watching.